Now we see that our entire value has been printed out on the command prompt. So that's how you can actually restrict how many decimal digits you want to see on your command prompt and how many field width you want to specify before the decimal point, or how much gap you want before your values that are appearing before this decimal point. But remember that it's going to include uh, these values are also going to get involved inside your field width specifier, which is we included previously. We saw that we changed this to 24. Okay, we changed this to 24, and we have got a huge space before it, but the space is 22 fields because the last two fields are being occupied by our decimal places. Now if we include more digits before this decimal point, it's going to get included inside those field widths. Now let's include something like 2, 4, 6, 8. So it's going to be, I guess, 16. Let's erase this off. Now let's have a look. Now because we now have 1, 2, this is 4, this is 4, 8. So before this decimal point we now have 8 digits. Now these 8 digits are going to uh, be included inside this field width specifier. Now we have included 24 fields. Now it's going to it's only going to assign 16 fields, which means 24 minus 8 is 16, I guess. Yeah, so it's 16. Now you have 16 empty fields and the rest are being occupied by these digits that are appearing before this decimal point. So that was about the field width specifier. The next thing that we're going to look at is the escape sequence. So the escape sequence is very important in many aspects. Like inside this string, if you want to include another string like this, then this is going to be an error. Just like as you can see that our ID has actually changed the color. Why? Because it's treating this entire thing as one string, because it has got double quotation mark, starting double quotation mark with the ending double quotation mark. Now there is one other starting double quotation mark, but it doesn't have any ending double quotation mark. That's why it's actually considering this entire thing or this entire expression as a single string. But if we remove that, now it's perfectly fine. But if we include that, what happens? Let's see. Let's run this program. Now you see there is an error. Our ID is telling that you must actually look into line 9 and what's happening inside this screen, inside this error. So it's actually telling us, if we expand this, it's actually telling us that on line 9 there is a warning. Why? Because there's a missing terminating double quotation character enabled by default, or it's actually telling that we are missing another ending double quotation mark or terminating double quotation mark, just like this. So right now, as you can see, we our ID has changed this color because it's now considering this to be one single string, and it's now also considering this to be another single string. So we have two strings, one is non-empty and the other one is actually an empty string. But what happens if we just need one single double quotation mark? How do we actually put that inside our printf function that actually always include quotation marks. The solution is very simple. You just have to include a forward slash. Sorry, this is a backward slash. Yeah, you just have to include a backward slash. So our compiler will now actually understand that we want that double quotation mark to be printed after this value is being printed on the command prompt. So let's have a look. Now it specifically prints out that single double quotation mark or this pair of double quotation marks on our command prompt. There are other escape sequences, but most of them are not actually very necessary. There are some that are very important, like the new line character, the backward slash, and obviously this double quotation mark. There is also the escape sequence to include the single quotation mark. So let's have a look. So what if it's going to be something like this? Like uh, let me actually explain to you something that's important. Escape sequences will always begin with the backward slash. So whenever you include this backward slash, your compiler will understand that you have begun an escape sequence. So anything that appears after this backward slash will be treated as something that needs to be interpreted as an escape sequence, but not just any simple character. So that's why you see that whenever we included this escape sequence character, or more precisely the backward slash, it's starting to read this entire thing as a string. Why is that? Because if we remove this off, it changes color. Why? Because this is one single string. It has a starting quotation mark and the ending quotation marks. So if we include that backward slash, it starts to read that it has, or it considers that it has a starting double quotation mark, but it does not have any ending double quotation mark, because it refers it as one single escape sequence, and this must be printed out, or our compiler is reading that this double quotation mark that's starting with the backward slash is an escape sequence, so it must be printed out on the command prompt. So where is the other matching double quotation mark that actually refers to the end of the string? We'll have to include another double quotation mark like this. So right now, this starting double quotation mark matches with the ending double quotation mark, and this double quotation mark, which has a preceding backward slash, will be printed on the browser, just like as we have seen earlier. So what if we want to print out the single quotation mark like this?